Hello everybody, this is our monthly Libertarian Party of Orange County, Florida affiliate meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. My name is Derek Ryan. Would you grab mine? Madam Secretary, do we have quorum?
We do.
We do have quorum. Okay, great. Do we have a motion for the adoption of the agenda? Do we have a second?
Rachel seconds.
All right. All in favor of the motion or the agenda being adopted, say aye. Aye. All opposed? So moved. Minutes from last month, as always, are posted on our website and available for everybody. So I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
So moved.
A second?
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. All right, so this must be the agenda from last month. So that's Andrews. Michael, what's yours?
Anaya.
All right, so we have another guest speaker. Thankfully, we're starting to have some quality guest speakers that are coming in. Actually, we have our guest speaker for next month in attendance as well. So right now, I would like to welcome Michael Anaya. Michael, you want to come up and give us a presentation and introduce yourself? And there's a camera over there. You might be staring every now and then. And let us know a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, no, I made some flyers for you guys, not the best looking flyers, but I helped you get to this website, and eventually that's where you guys want to get.
You might want to project your voice a little too. If you can.
As I'm Michael Anaya, I was brought here by Trisha, a good friend of mine. I've known her since I was probably 17 years old. Moved here from Kansas City, 1985, father of two. Long story short, I purchased my first home here in 2014. Did a lot of things to work on energy efficiency, out of necessity. Left the field of real estate that I was in to pursue solar here full time. Just I felt like I had a lot more passion. The knowledge that I've accumulated of how to save money, it's been a valuable tool to be able to help a lot of other people. So, if you go to this website here, cleanenergyhomesavings.com, to find all of our contact information, hours of operation, whatnot. This email right here is a direct email to us. And this is the
What is that website? We're going to post it in the comments on the
cleanenergyandhomesavings.com.
I see that there.
So all of that's on that flyer there, on the flyer. So we'll move on here to buy solar. Like I said, when I purchased my house, moved into a rough situation, almost lost my house immediately. It was a girl that I was with, one with the ex-boyfriend. So, I did a lot of stuff to become energy efficient. I was adding, a tankless hot water heater, insulation, tint in the windows, thinking that the electric bills were going to go down. Not knowing why the bills kept going up or staying the same. The reason being is there's an annual increase every year that most people are not aware of, and with what I know now, had I known that, what I know now, if I had known it then I would have done what I did at my own house and started all over. So I would have completely reconfigured everything that I did, because ideally, this is the most important thing that people are looking for here. There's a copy of my electric bill here at the house. For the most part, I pay $10.90 a month for my electric bill.
Wow.
Last year I was at $9.96, so I went through the pricing increase like you guys went through. I added 10% to my bill and it went up $10.90, but for most people that's not the case.
Yeah.
So, when you're thinking about solar, there's a lot of different reasons. You're planning for retirement, you want to pass your home on to your kids, looking to save money, combat climate change. All of these are valid reasons. So there's a reason that everybody wants to look into it. there's no wrong reason to look into solar, so. You can come to this website and, get informed about a lot of different stuff, give you some different ideas.
I would imagine the Libertarian audience would like the fact that you can be self-sustaining on some level.
Yeah, and that's, that's where I put these diagrams in here just to keep it as simple as possible. So, and ideally I want people to read this website, be able to read this information and digest it on their own. But for those that are not familiar with solar, the sun produces a direct current, hits the panels, turns it into an AC current that powers your house. Anything that's left over goes to your bi-directional meter. Anything that's left over goes to the utility company. So, and that's what they call the net metering program. So, you've got months of the year that you're going to produce more than you use. So all of that excess energy, it's kind of like a bank account where they send it to your energy bank account, so that way when you get to the summertime, you're getting that energy back at the same price, and that's how you maintain having that lower bill throughout the year. Now when the system is designed correct, it keeps you in that 1090 or, it depends on the electric company, it's in between like $10 to $16 to have that connection fee there. But you want to stay right there, you don't want to overproduce either, because at the end of the year they really give you pennies on the dollar for that electric that's left over. Now also, we've got the battery storage here. And obviously, when the sun goes down in the evening, you're not producing power, and that's how the net metering is going to help you in the evening. On a situation like a hurricane, your panels are going to shut off, and that's because federal law. They don't want that backfeed going back into the lines and potentially harming or killing a line worker.
How do they do that? Is that something you have to manually do?
No, it automatically shuts down there during a power outage situation.
With the battery though, what happens?
If you got the battery, then the excess battery, the excess that you put to your panels will be in your battery. Will actually continue to power your home there during a power outage. So it's an option to look into. Just kind of depends on.
Do the panels turn off when power goes out, or do the panels turn off like at a different point?
Not the only time the panels are going to turn off is there during a power outage.
Power outage.
Well,
So if you don't have any battery storage, then your panels are going to shut off, and that's just because they can't have you've got that connection there. That's the net metering. That's how you get the energy back and forth.
So can a Libertarian property owner just decide, today I just want to disconnect from the grid?
There's smaller packages that you could use for emergency situations, but if you guys wanted to be less government, this would be something up you guys' alley. If you do a lot of that stuff and not make the county or government aware of it, then they could actually, saw a gentleman in Alabama, Marine veteran, where he had his whole house set up where he was collecting rainwater, he was completely off of the grid. The state came in, found out about it, condemned his property, and threw him off of it.
Right.
So, yeah, just a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So,
That's right. Guy got kicked out of his own house.
no, so, his house was fully self-sufficient, probably shouldn't have been punished for it, but because of government regulation, he was.
Believe it or not, the article did not mention that. The article focused only on him violating some code of sorts, but they never mentioned he was self-sustaining. That would have driven people to copy it and imitate him, actually. So they didn't mention it.
He was completely self-sufficient, where he didn't need anything, didn't need anybody.
It wasn't out, and I didn't about it.
You condemned him. So,
And of course, they have ways to find out that there's no consumption happening.
exactly.
There's no load on there.
If you're going from having a $200 bill to
Yeah, to 10.
no electricity, then
Makes sense. So tiny houses are definitely one way to do that. The consumption definitely goes down.
You just have to
Well,
load up power.
for the normal house, it's only $10.
Even normal houses, you can.
Right, even a normal house, you go to $10 a month.
Yeah, and it's just that we had a guest before discussing electric consumption for tiny houses, so that's.
yeah, we were here the last.
Yeah, exactly, so
Yeah.
I'm bringing it up again for that.
So, being the Sunshine State, probably think that we would see a lot more solar here, but, you know, it's another thing, the government got in and fought tooth and nail, you know, getting the lobbyists to keep it not beneficial for homeowners here in the state. The Koch brothers came down in 2015 and ran a campaign to try to kind of switch up things there to make it confusing there on the ballot. But people saw past it where it is beneficial for people to get rooftop solar now. There's still some things that need to be changed.
So in 2016, wasn't that amendment 1? Didn't it pass or did it fail?
It did pass.
And how did that affect your industry?
It made it where people could have rooftop solar and you know, really save money from it and not be penalized for it. You know, put rules into place against like HOAs stopping you from having panels on certain areas of your house, things of that kind of nature where you couldn't be penalized for saving money. You know, that you couldn't have somebody block you from doing something beneficial for yourself and the environment. But the problem is, you know, these electric providers, they're monopolies. So if you have a problem with them, you don't have a choice to go anywhere else. You got a problem with them, there's really nobody that you can call about it. There's an article that I use for a lot of my presentations. I got in my folder over here from 2004 to 2014. Duke Energy raised their electric rates 50% over 10 years. That's where people are so accustomed to paying the bill without looking at it because they have to pay it, you have to have electricity. Within this article, it showed where they were collecting a fee for nuclear plants here around the state. They collected nearly almost $1 billion. I don't think the $1 billion ever went back to the consumers here in the state.
It never does.
Yeah, so now, you know, these companies are trying to keep it from going solar or essentially buying rural land here all over the state, building solar fields, charging it the same price of electricity as it does for burning coal. So to make 1,000 kilowatts of electricity with coal takes a little bit over $100. With solar panels, it takes probably about $50, and it continues to go down. Where here within this first quarter of the year, solar surpassed coal for the first time ever in energy production here in the United States. So. Energy efficiency, so that's where, you know, we come into houses. Like I said, I had to do it out of necessity for a long time, do a lot of research. You probably don't want to have to do as much reading and learn stuff the hard way that I did. But every $10 you save a month is $120 a year, and a lot of people don't realize how many $10 bills you have lying around your house. We can come in and show you to have you start saving annually from $500 to $1,000 or more when you know, proper home inspection is done. And I was just talking with Brian back here. So he's buying a new house. He's got gas. So anything that you got gas, put it on that natural gas because you're saving a lot of kilowatt hours. This is the company that we're representing, Winmar. One of the top installers in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. They've got over 20,000 successful installs where they're doing up to utility-based power grids for people there on the islands, commercial, residential, they do everything. So just play a little video here for them.
You may have to play with the volume on the
There's a remote on the table right here.
It's pretty loud.
Good enough. Might want a full screen.
Usually drag your cursor on the bottom
Yeah,
of the
just
video
the
screen.
mouse. Yeah, there it is. That's it.
All the way to the right.
Yeah, there it is.
Winmar Group, the largest renewable energy company in the Caribbean, developing and installing solar energy systems since 2002. We offer various financing options for the purchase of a very home solar system in the Sunshine State. Learn how Windmark can help you benefit from solar energy for a cleaner future. Windmark, from solar farms to residential systems. Sign up today to start producing clean energy from your own roof.
You guys saw the scale of those projects. There's not people in Orlando that have the capability to do that kind of stuff. And with the amount,
Cancel.
with the amount of,
Yeah, there we go. Hit escape button, actually. All the way on the top left. Yeah, there. You can go ahead and close it.
with, them being in the field here since, 2002, the amount of work they've done, you know, they're getting everything at a wholesale price and, essentially using today's technology at yesterday's prices. So, when it works out for a client the way that we want it to, essentially you're paying less than you would than for your average monthly electric bill there with your utility company. You start saving immediately. You're building equity in your home. You're paying a payment for something that's, you know, you're paying principal rather than a payment where it's going to eventually go away for you. You're, you know, eliminating one of your largest utilities at your home. You're stabilizing your bill by doing so. You know, when it works out like that, it's normally a no-brainer for people. At the same time, you've got more money to fix more stuff at your house, and on top of that, you're helping the environment.
I want to hear more about the solar panels that were bought by
The what?
Did you say there was like solar field that was recently purchased through the,
The last one that I read about, and there's, you know, FPL building them all over the state. I know Duke just bought some more property. I've got some articles there in my folder, but,
Orange County, if you go down 429 here, I mean, they've
yeah,
got
Disney's got those two over
hundreds of
there.
acres of
That's
solar.
all Disney.
Is that Disney?
That's not the power to people.
But I know Duke just had one go live in Osceola at the end of 2018, over there in that area. Like I said, nobody's getting a reduction on their electric bill. They're charging them the same prices as burning coal, and they're increasing the price every year. So it went up 50% during that time. After the hurricanes, they went up 8.5% after that year. They looked, you know, they started building these solar fields, and they're looking for pricing increases afterwards. And you got all this money for these nuclear plants, never give it back.
I mean, there has to be a critical point at which, if too many people in the market have solar panels on their roofs, that you know what I'm saying, the revenue stream starts to go away. I mean, I would think that these monopolistic power companies aren't cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely not. There's a petition right now to get something, I think, set up for 2020 where they want to have it set up where the monopolies are just paying for the lines and things of that kind of nature, and give people options where they're not stuck with their monopoly. They have different choices to shop with, but I don't think it's gonna get on the ballot here this next time around.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was told recently that there's even more demand for electricity now, or there's about to be a larger demand for electricity with all the electric cars and vehicles that are coming out. Everyone's going to be charging their cars instead of going to the gas station, so that'll drive up the price of electricity as well.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, and with us being here in Florida and the climate changing, and this is the hottest year ever on record on the planet, people are cranking their ACs even higher, and that's the largest electric consuming device in everybody's home. So that requires the electric company to make a lot more electricity. And we got to steer away from this coal. And I think with as efficient as the panels have become here, in the last 10 or so years, it's helping us to reduce our appetite for coal, which is hurting our environment. But until the battery storage improves, I think it's going to be necessary to use the natural gas until the batteries are able to power us in the evenings and emergency type situations.
One question I have for you is how well do these new panels hold up in disaster situations like high winds from hurricane or hail?
Yeah.
Well, those things that you saw there in that video clip were actually from Puerto Rico, where they got, you know, heavy hit by the hurricanes there in 2017. And what they told us at the office, 95% of their panels ended up being okay. You know, the 5% of panels that did have any damage wasn't from the winds, it was more from debris hitting them at high speeds.
As my father was actually an early adopter of solar, or so he said, but then it got, within like 2 months of him purchasing it, it got destroyed by a hailstorm, and he said the insurance didn't pay for it, so that was a bad taste in his mouth. I'm assuming that technology has come a little bit since then.
Yeah, you want to show them that video of, you want to put that video in here, Aaron, of your panels and get them beat up?
You probably have to find it on, I don't know how you're gonna feed from his phone onto the TV screen.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah, just,
I do actually have a question about something. In comparison with other states, because right now we're discussing Florida, but I did actually want to know about the state of solar in other parts of the U.S. because from what I'm hearing, I don't know if California actually has more regulations on solar than Florida. What I do know is you're not allowed to profit from it here in Florida. Like, in other words, you're not allowed to sell it.
You
We're-
used to be able to sell it
We're
back.
like one of 3 or 4 states that are not able to build the solar fields on our own, and that's, you know, that's.
Like for homeowners too, because
Correct.
from what I've heard, there are states where homeowners can make money off of.
Here, Brett, why don't you put the link over here on the computer?
Oh, just find the link?
How do you find out?
So somebody that,
You have to find out on YouTube or something.
Yeah. What search?
You can go to Soul World. You can go to Soul World. My White House.
You used to be able to sell it back. I think that changed, I think that
but
changed.
yeah, we're
in
like
2016.
one of 3 or 4 states here in the whole United States that we can't build a solar
But I
field on
think
private.
that's one of the things that happened in 2016.
Look it up on YouTube.
They were marketing it, they were marketing Amendment 1 as this super benign thing.
And that one didn't pass.
That one didn't.
That was Amendment 4.
Amendment 4 is the one that passed.
Wait, 4 from last year?
No, it's 16. No, it was this year.
Solar over there?
Amendment 1 and 16 passed.
Just
Amendment 4
a
failed.
chance.
Amendment 1 and 2 passed.
Yeah, I mean, because I have friends that would actually make money from their solar. So that's changed, that legislation changed.
Okay, so it was
2016.
Top
What
one?
changed it
Yeah, I
was the
think it's 10
council.
seconds in, yeah.
Make it big at the bottom.
Yeah.
I had my panels installed right before the hurricane, we had the island storm come over, and I didn't have any of my panels built.
Go 140 mile an hour wind rate. The distance part is underwater and it's running that pump. Now, this is the difference between 30 years ago and now.
Right.
International standards are 50 miles an hour.
Nice.
Every time they do something,
Oh,
that
yes.
means it passed, that means it still makes the same
There's
amount
that
of power.
hailstorm we're talking
Let's say you want to walk up on your roof. If you do step on a panel,
So they standardized the requirements now for solar panels built now.
yeah, this is a tier 1 panel.
What year was this?
Last year.
Last year.
Let's say you want to run
Promo ad for the Mini Cooper there.
Little side gig. Side wing.
That's a heavy truck.
Needed some cargo in the back.
No, no car, no.
I'm good. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, that answers my question.
Yeah, there you go.
Rolling
up to the hill, so we're.
Wow. So I
But
guess
that's-
it's no longer a question anymore when it comes to the weather.
You guys, you need to keep in mind, if like if any of you here are interested in solar here this year, the 30% solar tax credit is gonna be ending here at the end of this year, where it's 30% right now, so you're gonna get the most bang for your buck here. You get your project started here before,
So as long as you engage with solar by the end of this year, you'll get that credit?
it has to be installed, it doesn't have to be turned on. As long as it's installed before December the 31st this year, then you're eligible to receive back the full 30% tax credit from the government.
You have a card?
Yeah, we got the fires here, which, but so, let me show you guys this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You guys told Brian I was gonna use him as a prop here today?
All right, I'll keep mine.
Yes. Take a couple.
So, like I said, there's a lot of stuff on the website I may not have spoken out here out loud to you guys, so you'll be able to read all of this stuff on your own. I want to be sure everybody's informed. Okay, I'm gonna go to the schedule here link. There's a series of questions here. Go ahead, Matt.
Questions?
No, remember I was gonna use it as a prop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna be.
So, take the brief survey, yeah, click it, let's do it.
All right.
Or maybe we don't want to get the video camera on.
Yeah, why don't we,
We'll use some dummy information.
Do you want to use mine?
Huh?
For zip code? 32833, I'm interested.
32833?
Correct. Good phone.
Who's your electric provider? Worst of the worst.
And I'll say it on camera.
You know if you got one of these smart meters
No
outside?
one can tell me what to do. I'm sorry.
Do you know if you have one of these smart meters outside?
No, don't have those. I have probably a classical one, so it's either red or
So if you got one of these at your house, you're ready to go with solar. If you got the old one, it just spins in one direction, so you need bi-directional, so it's like $100 to replace that one.
Are you talking about Duke doing it for me, or?
Yeah, Duke takes care of that.
Yeah, I'll upgrade.
it probably, yeah,
you don't
have it already.
They'll just charge me probably. Are you saying the 100 is for installation or also the meter itself?
That's like, I think, cause I had one of the older ones too, as my house was built in '85, I think I paid $100 to have it switched out, so. Nothing too, out of control with that.
Orlando. Which is funny because technically I'm not officially in Orlando, I'm in Orange County, but my address is Orlando.
Alright, do you know how much, sun your roof receives?
I would say morning and after. Are you able to just say all day?
All day
sun. Yep.
If you don't have big trees around.
Yeah.
your
No.
house.
Definitely clear. Your street address. I'll change it up a little bit. Let's go with 310.
Let's just go with dummy right now since we're on video, and then we
Okay.
can fill in the blanks here. So we'll call it 1, 2, 3, Earthway.
I would say around 100. So second choice here.
Your current monthly bill's 100?
Said easy, right?
Yes, sir.
That's very low.
That's low.
Very low.
Yes,
For all the power bill, we're using central.
So you're not doing too bad where you're at.
Yeah.
Well, I do have some rules for us.
How big of a home is that?
4 bedroom.
4 square feet?
Can't give you an accurate answer.
Steel?
Your house is new, right?
Yeah, no, not built new. I'm a recent mover. The house has been around for at least 10 years.
is what we're getting at.
Ah, right.
Yeah, but if you guys are making referrals to us, let's put, tell somebody your name and Libertarian, that way, because we give referrals to them.
Sure.
We want to help as many people as we can, and helping people save money, so. I'll say yes here for this. Since Tricia brought me in, we're gonna say. most of my rooms are empty.
Yeah, that's
house.
So what did we just do?
So essentially, that just sent me an email with all that information. It just sent me a text message. That way I'm able to put the information in so we can look at your roof through a satellite image and, you know, start to qualify you to see if it's something that would be beneficial for your household or not. If it's not beneficial, if you guys are not saving money, then we'll be the first person to tell you it's probably not a good idea.
So, talk a little bit about, obviously this stuff isn't free, but it's my understanding, I have some other friends that are in solar, and it's my understanding that you either lease it or like, what is it, what is the cash out of pocket for this capital investment in my property? Or do you like spread it out over years? How does that work?
Yeah,
I mean, the savings on my power bill is great, but if I have a $700 a month bill in order to save, you know what I'm saying?
No, I get where you're going. So that's what I was telling you earlier. So ideally, you know, there's a cost associated with it, but for most people, it's going to be zero down. But you have to consider the fact that you're not adding a new bill to your house; you're replacing a bill. So if we can replace that bill and make it lower than what you're paying on the average, where it stabilizes it, where you're not having to worry about those pricing increases anymore, you know, paying principal, putting equity to your home, eventually eliminating that bill where you don't have to worry about it at some point in the future, then that's an ideal situation where you want to go.
So how long would it take for the average homeowner to pay off their system? They're just shuffling money from giving it to Duke to now I'm buying an asset of my own, but how long does that take to pay off?
There's different loans. I mean, everybody has different, you know, financial situations, so they can be
The ROI on a normal house is about 7.8 years. So we're between 7.6. And if you do a normal solar loan, it's probably going to be anywhere between 12 to 20 years and then it's paid off. And the panels have a 40-year lifespan.
That was my next question.
20-year life.
We don't use the string inverters, so a lot of companies are still using the older string inverters. It's kind of like a Christmas light. One light goes out, you're going to have problems with the rest of your string. On top of that, a string inverter only has a lifespan of in between 10 to 15 years, so eventually you're going to have to replace them or replace them again. We only work with the microinverter technology, and they've got a 25-year warranty on the microinverters, and they say they last between 70 to 77 years.
All right, well, we'll close this part of the meeting up, but I want to circle back because as a libertarian, the idea of being self-sufficient with power is the real draw to this. So,
Yeah.
so help me understand again. Is there a regulation in place that requires you, the installer, to put in some device that's able to interpret when the power shuts off and it shuts itself down? And like you as Joe, property owner, and you're handy with tools and shit, can I disengage that? I mean, am I able to like disconnect from the grid and still have power? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Maybe a homeowner, if you want my honest opinion, battery technology, I mean, unless you're making 6 figures a year, I would say hold off on it for a little while. It's gonna be another 5 to 10 years until they're doing exactly what they need to do. I've got a generator in my house. I've got natural gas, so I'm trying to convert my generator to natural gas, because that one generator would do probably what 3 solar batteries would do, probably for a tenth of the cost.
That's good. That's good.
Transparency.
Any more quick questions here? Of course, we can chat after the meeting as well.
I got one more libertarian-ish question, but the angle I want to take on this one is for right now today, if someone were to say, I want to buy solar in Orange County specifically, what would be your biggest barriers to doing that from the government side? Does Orange County make it easy? Does Orange County make it hard?
Normally the most difficult part of anybody going solar is dealing with the county and permitting, and you know the office takes care of all of that stuff for you guys. Where if you're working with a good company, then it should take in between 30 to 60 days. We always try to tell everybody 60 days, so under promise and over deliver, but it's probably closer to 30. But as it gets closer to the end of the year and you've got more people, try to make sure that they're within that window to have their installation done before December the 31st. Then it's going to it's going to start to get into a situation. It's going to take longer to get those installs because everybody's
This year is going to be
work.
crazy. Orange County is one of the easier ones to get permitted through. But by the end of the year, they're going to run out of panels and there's not going to be enough installed. because of the tax credit position. Right, it's gonna be, it's bad every year, but this year's gonna be worse.
And that tax credit, I heard you mention 30%. What does that mean? That goes on our, so when we're doing our income tax return,
Let's say if you spend 10,000 on solar, you get 3,000 back
as an additional deduction
as
on
a
your.
tax credit.
Yeah, so that's where it ends up making sense for people, because they're getting that 30% back. When you get that 30% back from the government during tax time, you reinvest it into your panels, then 9 times out of 10, it's put you where you're paid less than you would to the electric company. You're already 2/3 paid off on it. You become, a producer rather than a consumer, and you've got energy independence.
I have a final question. So we saw their ability to withstand weather and, extreme conditions. What about their maintenance? Is there any cost when it comes to keeping them up?
Good question.
No, with us being a rain state here, normally they pretty much self-maintain themselves, where the rain washes them off.
So it's almost just the installation and then they're set for life?
Yeah, they don't have any moving parts.
There's
Oh,
no
yeah,
warranty.
that's right.
There's a warranty.
Yeah,
So
but
we
we
have
shut
to-
down.
25-year warranty on the panels, there's
Yeah.
a 25-year warranty on the rack system,
25 years.
25 years on the microinverters. We have, for all of our clients, we include a 10-year workmanship warranty, which is probably double what most of the competitors out there are doing. If you qualify for our Sonova loan, then you can actually get a 25-year bumper-to-bumper warranty.
Okay, yeah, that does it.
Excellent, brother. Thank you so much. We want to.
And the government not making it very easy for us with the tariffs that are on them.
That was not a good note. No.
Do we want to
We should have talked about
pause this and start a new live feed for the
Yeah.
for the rest
It's up
of
to
the
you.
year?
I recommend that.
I think we should. Sounds like.
Take a recess.